My name is Mary. I'm sitting at the head of the boardroom table, calm and composed, as I watch Jake and his four cronies enter the room, still wearing their smug smiles. Little do they know that in a matter of minutes, their world will come crashing down. Jake and his friends are senior executives at Novatech, a leading tech company that they believe they've built and led to success. But what they don't know is that I'm the true owner and mastermind behind it all. I'm Mary, the CEO and founder of Novatech, and I'm also Jake's wife. I've been planning this moment for a long time. For the past 7 years, I've maintained a facade of being a struggling freelance financial consultant, living in a modest apartment and driving an average car. At first, Jake seemed like a warm, supportive man, but as time went on, he became more and more contemptuous of me. He saw me as a burden, a lucky wife who was fortunate to be financially supported by him. I endured his mockery and humiliation for years, but I knew that one day I would have my revenge. 2 years ago, I started gathering evidence of Jake's corruption and abuse of power at Novatech. I hired a team of private investigators and installed a surveillance system to track his every move. What I uncovered was far worse than I had imagined. Jake and his group were colluding with rival companies, selling Novatech's confidential information and manipulating internal markets for their own benefit. They were also harassing and exploiting their subordinates, creating a toxic work environment. I knew that I needed to do more than just gather evidence. I needed to experience the toxic culture firsthand. So, I created a new identity and applied for a job at Novatech. I went through the interview process, pretending to be a struggling job seeker. The interview was a nightmare. Jake's subordinates mocked me and dismissed me, clearly not interested in my skills or experience. They saw me as a mediocre woman with no connections or value. But I didn't care. I had already gotten what I wanted. I had seen how they operated, how they treated their employees, and how they had corrupted the company. I knew that it was time to take action. Today, I'm here to expose Jake and his cronies for what they are. I've gathered all the evidence I need, and I'm ready to present it to the shareholders and the executive team. I'm not going to let them get away with their crimes any longer. As Jake and his friends take their seats, I can see the confusion and shock on their faces. They can't believe that I'm sitting at the head of the table, looking calm and confident. I take a deep breath and begin to speak. Before we begin, I'd like to formally reintroduce myself. I'm Mary, the founder and CEO of Novatech. For the past 2 years, I've been quietly gathering evidence of your misconduct. I have records of every illegal transaction, every time company funds were abused for personal luxuries, every email exchange with our competitors, and even conversations you all thought were private. I click a button, and the massive screen behind me comes to life, displaying all the evidence I've gathered. Jake and his friends look at the screen in horror, their faces turning pale. They realize that they've been caught. You all thought you were untouchable, but only because I allowed you to think that way. You've been abusing your power, corrupting the company, and hurting innocent people. And now, it's time for you to pay the price. I pick up the stack of termination documents and slide them across the table towards Jake and his cronies. Effective immediately, you are all fired from Novatech. Your belongings have been packed, and your access to the company's systems has been revoked. Leave quietly before I make this even worse for you. Jake jumps up from his chair, his face flushed with anger and fear. You can't do this. I'm the vice president. I built this company. I cut him off, my voice cold and steady. You never built anything. I'm the one who created this company. I'm the one who hired you. I'm the one who let you into my life. And now, I'm the one who is throwing you out of all of it. The boardroom doors swing open, and security steps inside to escort the newly terminated executives out of the building. Jake staggers back, his eyes wide with disbelief. He turns to his colleagues, desperately seeking support, but they all lower their heads, avoiding his gaze. He's alone. I watch as they leave the room, feeling a sense of relief and satisfaction. I've finally taken back what's mine. I've restored justice to Novatech, and I've shown the world that power doesn't belong to manipulators, but to those with talent and integrity. In the months that followed, Novatech underwent a complete transformation. I fired every person who had enabled Jake and his group, and I filled the vacant positions with highly skilled professionals. I implemented stricter transparency policies and an anonymous reporting system to ensure that employees could safely report internal issues without fear of retaliation. I also launched an employee mentorship program to support and guide new employees. The company culture changed dramatically. Employees were no longer afraid to speak up, and they were free to create and innovate. The financial results reflected the transformation, with the company signing major contracts and seeing a significant increase in stock prices. Jake and his cronies, on the other hand, sank to the bottom. They were no longer mentioned in financial circles, and they had a hard time finding new jobs. Jake was now working as a sales associate at a small electronics store, a far cry from his former position as vice president of a billion-dollar company. Looking back, I realized that my revenge wasn't about destroying others. It was about building something better. I've restored justice to Novatech, and I've created a company that is based on fairness, innovation, and integrity. And I know that this is only the beginning.